Jump scare warning for this little face of mine. Okay, I got inspired by the webtoons and I turned myself into the most incoherent comic book imaginable. Although I feel like I'm giving more a bad case of the stripes. Regardless, this one is going to be very fun.
Your videotaping the show. On you.
Butt lovers. I have discovered I don't read enough webtoons. In fact, prior to this video, the only webtoon I ever read was Everything's Fine because Rec Rio recommended it as well as my sister, but recently I've been feeling more intrigued and you guys gave me some fantastic suggestions. Before we start, I want to let you know how I'm going to be ranking it. I will no longer be making a tier list because that shit did not work when I was ranking your favorite TV shows. Even with the disclaimer of this is going to be my opinion, people were really shocked. 2 words. Fuck you! You rating my fave show a low score, okay? How about I rate your fucking face? Let's see here. Ah, I see it now. A big spoiled brat. 70 likes! The Owl House is fucking amazing. Shut up. I put it in A tier. That's a high score. Another one. Why do you this to me? You're wrong. You're just wrong. The Owl House is amazing. Does the P in Athena P stand for please light me on fire and burn me at the stake? No, too fucking bad. Jesus. So even though it's impossible to please everybody, I have a problem. So I created this handy dandy quadrant. On the x-axis is vibe with the story, don't vibe with the story, and on the why are you doing this to me axis, it's vibe with the characters, don't vibe with the characters. If I don't vibe with the story and or don't vibe with the characters, it doesn't mean it's a bad story. It just means I have preferences, okay? If any of you leave hate comments after this, oh my god, you look so dumb right now, standing outside my house. As I was running, my entire butt was out. First webtoon that I was suggested is OFFBEAT by Moon Scared. Now here's the thing, they also follow me, so I was like, shit, I really hope I like this. And guess what? I did. A lot. The use of flowers for warm, gushy emotions, the tone, and even the use of color reminded me a lot of Heartstopper. Now, I hesitated to say that at first because some people hate being compared, but I saw this TikTok they made describing their work in that very same way, and I feel so vindicated. Warms my heart that you were going for that because you succeeded. I was trying to only read one episode, ended up reading the whole thing. Whoops, that's the exact same thing that happened with Heartstopper.
I couldn't stop, I watched the whole season. Holy shit, what a gift.
But anyway, even though it's really early on, I must say the characters as well as their interactions with each other is what's really carrying it for me, but I feel like that's common with slice of life. You don't keep reading because the plot just grabs you or there's plot twists or this or that or this or that. No, it's the characters. They're very sweet and you want them to just have just like a mushy gushy good time. It's mostly all about the characters, which is why that is through the roof. Well done, I subscribed. Speaking of subscribing, would you guys do me like a solid? And you see that red button over there? I heard that red button insult your mom. So what you're gonna want to do is you're just gonna
Hit that.
I really turned into a YouTuber there. Ew. I read the first few episodes of Down to Earth as well, and it has a stellar setup. It's a fish out of water story, but it's told from the lens of like the everyman character. He's down on his luck. He's kind of a jerk, working at a dead-end job. The detail in the art really engaged me as well. Look at this. It's burger prints. You know I ate that shit up. Also, if anything happened to this cat, we're all going down, because I'm gonna fight everyone. Another detail, sorry, I'm just flaunting the art right now. With the galaxy in her eyes, seeing the world from her lens, you just see it as like fantastical, and then you have the plain Jane piece of shit guy to balance it all out. Like I was saying, this world is very dynamic, and I can't wait to see Zyda explore it. I hope I'm saying that right. Down to Earth is going right over there. Definitely vibe with the story and the world more than the actual characters for now, but I feel like that'll change. I feel like I'm gonna like the characters more as I go on. So then I got to STAGTOWN, which my sister suggested, and you think my sister would know me, right? You think she'd know me. Wrong. She suggested episode 39, I checked it out, and I got a little bit too invested in the story and investigated further. I wanted to get more context, so I went to episode 1. Big mistake. Big mistake. The episode my sister suggested kind of showed how they were trying to deal with the mysterious circumstances, but you know, curiosity killed the cat, and I really wanted to see what exactly these mysterious circumstances were. And what I left with was a whole lot of anxiety. Very well done. I vibe with the characters from what I've seen, but the story itself, just may not be for me. I'm not sure if I can handle that level of gore and the paranoia that they set up with these cameras. I don't know what it is about this that creeps me out more than Everything's Fine, because Everything's Fine is also well done and plays off paranoia. Maybe it's the masks where I have like a degree of separation. Seeing the expressions that they draw in Stagtown, you just really...
You feel it. It's visceral.
If you were curious, this is the placement, and it doesn't mean it's a bad story. It is a very good story. I am just a little baby, okay?
Don't yell at the baby.
Fun fact, did you know that OLYMPUS is popular for a reason? I didn't realize I had a little hipster in me. I just assumed it was overrated. It's not! It's really good! There's a reason everybody likes it! Very cruel of you to put episode 24 for the suggestion, but it was very well done. Big stakes, larger than life gods. It's wonderful, and I need to see what Athena looks like because that's my namesake. Boop. That's where that one's going. Axed is so incredibly up my alley. For those of you who don't know, picture this. Poor girl is going for a vengeance arc. A loved one of hers has died. She's trained. She's like,
I'm gonna kill the monster that killed my family. Ah!
Much like the vampire hunter in the gay yeehaw romance novel that we just read together. Sorry to plug, but I mean, the similarities end there. The moment she's ready to embark on her journey, somebody's like, Hey, miss, did you hear? A peace treaty was signed. The monsters and humans live in harmony now. Yay!
Are you fucking shitting me?
If there's ever a live action version, oh my god, I'm auditioning for her. I'm auditioning for Axe. There's one panel where somebody asks her name and she says, just Axe, and they said, I just did. Listen, the art is also amazing, but the comedy just really takes the spotlight. The writer is naturally comedically gifted. It feels weird to even put Axed on this axis, weirdly enough, so I gave the queen her own category. She's off the chart. She's comedy queen. I don't know about the characters, I don't know about the story, but I know I laughed, and I know I will be reading more. Castle Swimmer takes the cake as my favorite world, and the bar was very high. But I saw this dude, I screamed. I wish I had a live reaction of me reading this. I was like, absolutely enchanted. The main character is a cutie patootie. They keep calling him the Beacon. He has like this prophecy to fulfill, but he doesn't want to. He just wants to be a little baby because he's a little baby. Me as well. Sometimes people are like, Athena, you have to move out and start paying taxes. And I'm like, these prophecies, these expectations for me to be a functioning member of society, like, fuck out of here. The only thing that I'm a little bewildered about is the plot didn't hook me right away. I'm obsessed with the characters, obsessed with the world, and I will continue reading. I subscribed, but yeah, I'm gonna rank this one, like, I like the plot, but I definitely like the characters a lot more. Next, I read the first few episodes of HOOKY, and special shout out to this one. This came out all the way back in 2015. It's a completed series, and even with how much time has passed, it's still very distinct. Larger than life world. It follows the niece and nephew of this evil queen. It's a spin on fairy tales, and I already see the snowball rolling and getting bigger and bigger, and more side characters just keep getting swept up in the chaos. Living for the chaos, living for the larger than life world. The only thing is, I'm not really thinking a lot about the niece and nephew yet. They have this cute brother-sister dynamic, sure, but like, I keep almost dismissing them in my mind so far, because I'm trying to keep up with everything else. So very invested in the plot. Dude, the croaking, there's so much bird discrimination, or should I say discriminaviation. That was brilliant, and you know it! Also, I just started the croaking, so I've barely scratched the surface. Maybe poor choice of words considering one of the main characters already got stabbed, yikes. But I don't know, I'm just picking up on, like, gay? Is there gay going on?
5, 6, 7, we're beautiful in our way, these birds are fucking gay.
Kokomon trees with the sleeves. My apologies for the jazz square and all of that. The last thing I have to say about the croaking is thank God the story follows Kai. I think that was an excellent choice, because if it followed any of these other emo and or racist fucks, it would have been unbearable. Speaking of unbearable... Alright, that intro was harsh and a bit of an exaggeration, but Boyfriends is incredibly controversial. The first time I was actually introduced to Boyfriends, I saw a bunch of people on TikTok talking about how much the characters annoy the shit out of them, and now that I've read it, I kind of agree, I'm sorry. It's just because each of these characters falls into a certain trope, you know, the jock, the nerd, the goth, the prep. Some of the writing feels... I'm about to do a dramatic reading of the smoking scene, which absolutely kills me.
Just like how smoking kills, alright? Just say no.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to look cool to you. I saw you smoking a cigarette earlier and you looked really cool and hot, and I just wanted to try it out, but...
Hey, there, friend. Can you calm the fuck down? That's coming from me. I haven't read a lot of it, but from what I've seen, it seems completely harmless and silly, and younger me would have eaten this up. Adult Athena, current Athena, I don't vibe with it. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not for me. Next, I read Jackson's Diary, and you know what? I can't really pinpoint exactly what I like about the series, but it's really fun. Let me explain a little bit of the plot because there is a lot going on. So Jackson is starting at a new school, and he's having some trauma nightmares, fun and relatable. He basically had the worst first day of school ever, accidentally making a very powerful enemy in Exer. And it's weird because in every other way, Exer, the deuteragonist, is a very likable character. In fact, the second episode is told completely in his perspective, and he's just very charismatic. He sticks up for a girl that's being harassed by some creeps. Everyone at the school likes him. And also, he might have powers. Aside from these very interesting characters, this story's biggest strength is the pacing. Because right now it seems like a high school drama, but there's clearly more beneath the surface. I feel like it'll take a while to get to, but everything is already so engaging. Like, I'm fine with the high school drama stuff. Next, I was suggested What's a Soulmate? And guys, I think it's because of the book reports I do on this channel, but I've completely convinced myself I didn't like romance stories. I love them when they're done well, and there's so many amazing romance stories on Webtoons. This is one of them. Let me get into it. I wanted to show you this art from it because don't you get a feeling? Doesn't it just put you in that beautiful autumn day? The leaves are changing, I'm changing. Unlike the other slice of life stories I've read so far, they actually gave us a small preview of the familial trauma, so I'm a bit more invested in the plot, and the characters are also really great. Definitely deserves more hype. Next, we have Tales of the Unusual, which, like its name implies, is made up of tales, like little stories throughout. It reminds me a lot of Black Mirror, and I love Black Mirror, and even though it was a horror, I sat through it and enjoyed it for the most part. I have a lot of critiques about the ending, but before we get into that, let me talk about what I liked. I didn't vibe with a single character, but that was actually part of the reason I liked it so much. They were all so flawed and fucked up. It was intentional. I'm not supposed to like any of these people. That would be like a red flag. Like the people who are like, you know, I actually relate to BoJack Horseman. I actually relate to Rick Sanchez. Therapy, guys. It's so great. It was a very specific type of body horror. I don't know. Knowing myself, I'm surprised it didn't fuck with me more. Now I'm going to talk about the ending of this specific arc. If you don't want to see that, here's a timestamp below you can skip to, or you can go to the next chapter. We had such a wonderful villain in the main character, in the woman, but then her boyfriend swoops in out of nowhere. The pacing is off. It's very rushed at the end. Also, even with the disclaimer of like, this isn't an accurate depiction of gender affirmation or whatever, the scene literally goes, we find out he's trans from the girl listening in on his mom's conversation, and then he fucking chloroforms his girlfriend and said, why'd you have to be stupid? Why'd you have to go snooping in my business? And it didn't feel right in my soul. I think it was a pacing issue, but I still don't understand the significance of that reveal. They played up that reveal like it was this big thing, and I was like, oh, okay, he's trans. And all of a sudden it's like, and I'm evil! It's so unfortunate because I vibed with the story other than the ending, though. After that train wreck, I read Homesick, and my anxiety came back full force, swinging. After I read something as fucked up as Beauty Water, why is Homesick hitting me way harder? I think the scene where the mouse got murked upset me. Like one of the giant monsters just popped a rat in his mouth like it was a bubble of bubblegum. I don't know, but I'm in an annoying position because I really liked the characters. I love their dynamic and I want to keep reading, but I imagine it'll only get worse for them before it gets better, if it ever even does get better. LACKADAISY is the most interesting mishmash of genre and characters. Never in a million years would I think I'd be looking at 1920s cats in a sepia tone that screams in my brain a transatlantic accent.
Check in the garage, Ivy. You go along too. Victor will be less likely to throttle him in your presence.
That's my attempt, but you know what it sounds like, right? The only preferential problem I have with it, with any story that has this 1920s style, my painfully short attention span can't handle it. It's more text heavy than the other webtoons on here, and the pacing is slower. It's a bit more slow burn. Even with that crazy action scene in the beginning, it still felt slower. Not a narrative problem, just a preference problem. The last webtoon we're going to be talking about is actually a suggestion from my friend Rachel, and it's FLUIDUM, and holy shit, I think it's the coolest freaking premise of any story, like, ever. Okay, so basically, I don't want to give away too much, because I think everyone should read it, but you're born and you have two bodies, a male body and a female body, and you can switch between them. The one that you switch out of is basically left in, like, a napping state until you decide, oh, okay, I'm gonna go in my male body now. So our main character is dreading their 21st birthday because they don't want to choose. Both bodies feel right to them. I love it, and there's so many more interesting perspectives. Like, it talks about so many different trans experiences. I don't know if I have recency bias, but this might just be like my all-time favorite. Like, I cannot wait to read the rest of it. And a lot of these other ones too. Genuinely, guys, thank you so much for your wonderful suggestions. Let's do this again sometime. Leave in a comment some more of your favorites, or if you've heard of these and your thoughts. Just don't be mad at me, okay? Like, I relatively liked all of them. It's just, I have preferences. I'm a person, you know? All right, butt lovers, stay safe out there. Bye!